Fairy section. It's story time today, and we're going to look at another traditional tale or fairy tale, which is what we've been talking about all this half term. So remember, a fairy tale or a traditional tale is a tale that's been around for a long, long time, told to your mums and dads and grandmas and granddads and their grandma and granddads. And it's usually got magical or fairy tale things that happen in it, or characters that do unusual things like animals that act like humans. And they start with once upon a time and usually finish with happily ever after. And the story that we're going to do our activities about this week is Jack and the Beanstalk. This might be a story that you know. And this is the title on the front. You can see. Can we find out Jack? It's got a capital J because it's a title, and it's his name. And it's Jack. And then we've got tricky words. We've got and, the, and a big the for Beanstalk. Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there was a boy called Jack who lived with his mother. They were so poor that she said to him one day, "We'll have to sell our cow. It's the only way." So Jack took the cow to market. And in his speech bubble here it says, "I'll miss you, Daisy." So they've got no money, they're having to sell their cow, so they've got some money to buy some food. On the way, Jack met a stranger. You shouldn't talk to strangers, should you, when you meet strangers? But the stranger said, "I'll give you 5 beans for that cow," he said. "They're magic beans." "Done," said Jack. He shouldn't have really done that. His mum wanted him to get money, didn't she, for the beans? But when he got back, his mum was really cross, and she said, "5 beans for our cow? Is that all?" cried his mother, and she threw them out of the window. You can see that she's got a very angry face, hasn't she? All through the night, a beanstalk grew and grew until it was right out of sight. It's gone really, really tall. There's the house way down there, and the beanstalk is all the way up here. Before his mother could say a word, Jack climbed and climbed, and he didn't stop until he reached the top. There, Jack saw a giant castle. He knocked, and a giantess opened the door. There she is. So a giant or a giantess is someone who is really, really big. Can you see how small Jack looks compared to them? Inside, Jack could hear a thumping and a banging and a stamping and a crashing. "Quick," said the giantess. "Hide, my husband is hungry." And here's her husband, he's a big giant. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, watch out everyone, here I come," roared the giant. The giant sat down for his supper. He ate 100 boiled potatoes. My goodness, that's a lot, isn't it? Look at that big tower of potatoes. And 100 chocolate biscuits. All these biscuits here. I think I'd feel sick if I had that many biscuits. And then, feeling a bit happier, he got out his gold. The giant started counting his coins, but soon he was snoozing. He's gone to sleep. Jack snatched the gold and raced down the beanstalk. "Gold!" cried Jack's mother when she saw what he'd got. "We're not poor anymore." But Jack wanted to go back up the beanstalk. The next day he climbed and climbed, and he didn't stop until he reached the top. Inside the castle, Jack hid when he heard a thumping and a banging and a stamping and a crashing. You can guess who it's going to be, can't you? It's the giant. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, watch out everyone, here I come," roared the giant. The giant sat down for his supper. He ate 200 baked potatoes and 200 jellies. My goodness me. And then, feeling a bit happier, he got his hen out that laid golden eggs. Well, that's very special, isn't it? Hens don't usually lay golden eggs. The hen started laying, but soon the giant was snoozing. Jack snatched the hen and raced down the beanstalk. "Golden eggs from a golden hen," cried Jack's mother. "Now we'll never be poor again." The next day, Jack climbed the beanstalk once more. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, watch out everyone, here I come," roared the giant. The giant sat down for his supper. He ate 300 roast potatoes and 300 green cakes. Goodness me. And then, feeling a bit happier, he got out his golden harp. And a harp is a musical instrument that looks like this. It's about as tall as a grown-up, but it looks quite small because he's a giant here. And this one's made of gold and it has strings on, and you play it by picking the strings, and it makes a very beautiful sound. The harp sang him lullabies, and soon the giant was snoozing. Jack snatched the harp and raced down the beanstalk. But the harp called out, "Master, master!" And the giant woke up and started to chase after Jack. "Bring the axe, mother!" Jack shouted as he neared the ground. Then he chopped and he chopped, and he didn't stop until, crash, down came the beanstalk and the giant. And with the gold and the harp and the eggs and the ham, Jack and his mother were never poor again. And they lived happily ever after. I hope you enjoyed the story and enjoyed doing all the activities about Jack and the Beanstalk this week. I'll see you soon. Bye.